Hey everyone, it's Pixelade here and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. We've got a brand new update from the Sims Direct team, and it's about one of the most frustrating and worrying issues we have honestly seen in many years: save file corruption in The Sims 4. So Maxis has shared a full statement breaking down what they have been working on here with this, where their investigations currently stand, and also the tools they're building behind the scenes to aid with it. So we're gonna go over scratch file concerns, lot data problems, the removal of the BB increase rental unit cap cheat, and I also want to connect this to a much bigger discussion I told you that we would be having, and I'm sure some of you have probably been wondering where that is. Well, it is coming here today in this video. Player trust and frustration are really at the center of all of this, especially with EA's sale announced and set to close in early 2027. We're all thinking it. What is the future of the Sims franchise? Well, that future is pretty uncertain. So I first want to begin with what Maxis actually said. So in their new blog, they made it very clear that this is a work in progress. They don't have all the answers yet, but they are committing to transparency and to sharing updates as progress is made. They thanked players for patience and feedback, but at the same time admitted that this isn't something they can solve overnight. So when they talk about corruption, they're referring to three main scenarios here: the game itself refusing to load at all, a save file that fails to load, or possibly even a save that loads but comes with missing assets like thumbnails or even entire lots. So that is the entire scope of at least what they're tackling right now, it seems. Now, here's what they've done so far. They've been asking players to share their impacted saves, and they have already received dozens. Those are now being organized into a database where they can start looking for patterns, things like file size, how many packs people own, whether mods are in play, and also what version the game the saves were made on. They've also developed a brand new Python-based tool that can extract and analyze save data in a more automated way, which helps teams work faster and spot recurring problems. They're reviewing past fixes as well, comparing historical cases of corruption to see what might still be repeating here today. But I want to talk more about what they are actively investigating right now. And we start with scratch files. So these are temporary files that the game relies on, and reports suggest that they might be disappearing or being deleted, which could be a trigger for corruption. Maxis is digging into the root cause here, looking at areas where Sims 4 files might be coming into contact with other systems, maybe with cloud backups, or possibly even external programs that could be deleting or overwriting them entirely. Then we have lot data. Some of the saves they've received are showing lots with missing or almost no information. They've reproduced cases of endless loading and white screens linked to certain build behaviors, including very stuffed lots. So they've been testing this both with and without mods, which is important because they want to separate out what's tied to mods versus what's just overall game stability. They have also noted that while rental units do increase error reports, they don't believe this is the main driver behind corruption. Instead, it looks more tied to overall save complexity. They even note that instances of corruption existed before the release of 4’s, so it's not just that pack, even though players frequently connect the two. So they're also watching mods, particularly script mods that sometimes leave behind files even after they're removed. They haven't linked this directly to corruption yet, but it is another possible factor in certain saves. So what are the next steps for the team? Well, they say they're continuing to test venue type data transfer across saves, deepening the scratch file investigation, and also looking back at old cases of save bloat to see if if there are common threads. Now, as a precaution, they're removing the bb.increase rental unit cap residential rental unit cheat in an upcoming update as, I guess, just a preventative step while broader fixes are in development. Now, for context, all of this comes after their last blog, which I already did cover in detail, and that one really just focuses more on the for rent issues and specific known problems like disappearing lots, endless loading, error codes, all that jazz. They said at the time that these issues weren't all tied to a single bug, but rather a mix of different factors across devices, packs, and mods. So what we're seeing now is the continuation of that work, but they're not just talking about pack specific issues anymore. They are expanding the investigation beyond for rent to broader save integrity issues. But all of this goes way beyond just this technical blog post that they've published here. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I asked you guys on my community page what you thought of the Sims quality of life roadmap, and there is no better time than this video to pivot into that discussion. And now, with this new save corruption update and even the recent news on EA's sale confirmed, this conversation is more than relevant. Now, the responses and reactions that I have seen, not just in my posts, but honestly across the wider community, like on Twitter and Instagram, I've been kind of pulling reactions not just from that post, but from different social media sites. And there is a very sharp divide here. On one side, there are players who are glad that Maxis is at least acknowledging the issue and building tools and sharing progress updates, and I do agree with all of that stuff. I am all here for them to actually put the work in and try to fix these things and also share updates with us in the progress. I've talked about that so much. Transparency is literally everything. It does, at least in that regard, feel like they're listening, but then on the other hand, there is a very deep, long-standing frustration. A lot of you said that EA has made similar promises before and nothing really changed, and to that, I agree. Let's drink to that one. I really do think that the company is more focused on pumping out new packs than fixing the core game. That's just my opinion. And you know, with EA's sale announced and set to close in 2027, there is this extra layer of uncertainty about whether these fixes will even matter in the long term. But a lot of the themes I noticed in the community reactions are pretty consistent overall. One of the biggest here is just mistrust. This has been an issue for so many years anyway, so not really news. Many of you say you simply don't believe these problems are going to be fixed because past statements from EA and Maxis have often fizzled out. Many players pointed out that fixes tend to be partial and that they sometimes break other parts of the game, and that once the attention moves back to new DLC, that urgency that we once had fades away completely. And all of that mistrust feels even heavier now with the sale looming. Even though it has been done, the deal has been made, it doesn't fully take effect until 2027, but I feel like we might start seeing the effects of it pretty soon. Now, another thing that was brought up a lot in these responses too is money. People have spent hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars on this game across 10 years, and the expectation is that the product should function as intended. There's a lot of anger about being asked to keep buying new packs when the base game still struggles with corruption and instability. And again, when you tie that to EA being sold, there is this fear that monetization could become even more aggressive with less incentive to invest in the long-term health of the current game. Not me getting frustrated here, but oh my gosh. And putting anger aside, there's also just fatigue. So many of you, including myself, are just tired of hearing the same words over and over again. Promise of transparency, commitment to fixing these issues without seeing the kind of stability you'd expect in a game this mature. We're how many years into The Sims 4? There were lots of comparisons to other titles that, despite their flaws, still managed to resolve major issues after a few patches. Meanwhile, The Sims 4 has carried bugs and performance issues we have had since like 2015, 2016, 2017 into the current day. Now, anger and fatigue aside, there was at least some optimism, and I want to try to put a little light on this in any way that I can because I hate making doom and gloom videos, but sometimes they're necessary. Yes, I'm glad that Maxis has developed new tools and set up a save database and is talking openly about temporary files and lot data. That's definitely deeper than the surface level bug lists that we usually see. Most of the time, those bug lists end up being just small things. But you know, transparency only goes so far, and the amount of responses that I read that had "I'll believe it when I see it" in it, like, I'm with you there. Like, I am truly at that point now. I appreciate the transparency. I am so grateful for it, but there comes a point when we're working on it just isn't enough, you know? Especially after God knows how many years we've been dealing with all of these issues. And now going back to that big fear about the future of the Sims franchise, with EA's sale announced and set to close in 2027, and obviously The Sims as a brand wrapped into that deal, everyone is worried right now about where this leaves the development team. Does this mean more resources to fix issues? Does it mean more pressure to release monetized content? A lot of folks right now are questioning whether developers themselves will want to stick around through the changes or whether they'll move on, which could impact the passion and inclusivity we have seen from individual members of the Sims team. So, you know, overall, this was a really good update from the Sims team. We are seeing movement, but the big question is whether it's enough. Are these investigations and tools the start of actual, real, lasting fixes? Or will it be another case of good intentions that fade once the spotlight moves back to new DLC drops again? Now, we have rumors that The Sims is gonna put expansions on hold to fix the game. We don't know how true that is, but there is at least a little light at the end of the tunnel. Do you trust these words? Do you trust what the Sims team is saying here? Do you have trust in the game? Do you have trust in the Sims team? And also trust in the company that owns the Sims? Well, EA owns the Sims right now, but Saudi Arabia is gonna own it in what, a year and some odd months. But I really wanna hear from you guys on this one. Do you think Maxis is genuinely on the right track here? Do you feel like it's the same promises we've heard before time and time again? How do you think the EA sale is gonna factor into all of this? Are you more worried now about the future of The Sims, or do you see this as a chance maybe for things to improve? I'm gonna wrap things up here. As always, thank you all so much for watching and listening to me rant. Take care and share all of your thoughts below. Happy life simming, guys.